You're welcome to Chat Room on Solab TV, and once again, my name is Gloria Doyle, and as you know, we have been having series of discussion on the present and current situation of Nigeria. And today on our chat room, we have very learned gentlemen that will be talking with us, and not only talking with us, they will give us opinions on how to move Nigeria forward. Today I have Barrister Nuruddin Koledoye Oyedele. He is a renowned legal practitioner here in Nigeria. You are welcome to our chat show. Thank you for coming. Thank you for your time.
I'm glad to be here.
Thank you, sir. And on my right, I have Alhaji Moshood Alalade. He is a security consultant, and we are so dignified to have him here to talk to us on the issues facing Nigeria today. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you very much for having me.
Yes, thank you. We all know what is trending in Nigeria. NSAS, end police brutality, Sorosoke, agitations of the youth, you understand, breakdown of law and order, just to mention but a few. Barrister Nuruddin, first of all, I want to say, what is your take on what is going on in Nigeria currently?
Thank you for having me. The current situation in Nigeria cannot be discussed without talking about the basics. What about the fundamentals?
Yes.
What were the issues? There are several issues that have been rearing its ugly head right from Nigeria independence, through the military rule, and through the democratic dispensation we have right now. It's not been an easy journey. The checkered history of Nigeria is so tortuous. It's not been easy at all. We had democratic system from 1960. That was truncated. Then we had the military rule. After that, we have civil war. After the civil war, then we had another military rule. After the military rule, after several years of military rule, there about 13 years, the civilians came. The military struck again, January 1st, 1984. So many promises. They ruled us for several years again. Then we had the democratic rule in 1999. The issues are still there. There are stuff in there. One, the issue of ethnicity.
Okay.
Yes, there was amalgamation in 1914.
Yes.
6 people supposedly on behalf of the entire country signed for the amalgamation. The northern and the southern protectorate were joined by the British.
Yeah.
Notwithstanding our differences, the heterogeneity of the country, we were joined together. And it has been like that. One part of the country leaning on another part of the country. It's like a forced marriage.
Okay.
And one of the results of that forced marriage is what we are having today.
If I may ask, because it's what you said now is very technical. One part of the country leaning on the other. If I may ask you, sir, is it the south leaning on the north, or the north leaning on the south?
I don't want to be straightforward like that.
Okay.
I just want to say it's like what we have in the United States of America. The minority lording over the majority. The minority lording over the majority. In the temperate region, there are not many people.
Yeah.
Arid region, the south, there are so many people. But the population of Nigeria, the population census consecutively has always shown that the north is
far
higher than the population is far higher than the south. That's one fundamental problem. It was a problem in 1963 census. Another census of 1973 another censor that follows, and on like that. And why is that so? Because the resources of Nigeria, the sharing is being based on population. So that is a major problem. So unless we address the fundamentals, we are going nowhere as a country. One of the fundamentals is this: as our stayed together, our marriage been so peaceful, your answer is as good as mine. It's not peaceful. We have been managing to live together as a country. So what we have today is a culmination of events, bottled up angers over the years. We have a federal government that is hydra-headed. When you look at the exclusive list is much more loaded than the concurrent list. The exclusive list are those policies or issues that can only be legislated on by the federal government. You're talking about the issue of education, of agriculture in the exclusive list. What has the federal government to do with education of Lagos? So has to be, so issue of culture in the exclusive list. What is the problem of the federal government with culture? So the federal government is hydra-headed, and it will be extremely difficult to address those issues. As I know it, the federal government has over 600 parastatals. So no matter the effectiveness of your president, it's extremely difficult for any president to perform under the current dispensation.
Wow.
Under the current constitution. So one of the fundamentals again is the constitution.
Yes. Okay. Sorry. Talking about the constitution, we've gone out there, we've seen a lot of what is going on, the protest and SARS. People saying it's peaceful. They just want a reformation of Nigeria. Alhaji Moshood Alalade, I want to ask you: do you think that this protest, this unquote peaceful protest, do you think that it's really one of the solutions in reforming Nigeria?
Well, thank you once again. You see, there's nowhere in the world where you have issue of protest like this. At the end of the day, we will still come back to a round table and discuss about it. You see, the protests, we all support. We are into it, and we supported what they were doing. I think our youth just woken up from their slumber. They know they come out at the right time to do what is necessary now. And as far as we are supporting them, they should not turn to innocence about the whole thing. What we're saying is we should still come back. They should list up their demand. Let us know what they are after, what they really wanted. So they will be able to address it in a way. Because if at the end of the day, if you did not allow people to address this thing the way it's supposed to be, these people will still come back again, and at the end of the day, we won't be able to have a good playing ground to solve the problem. So what I'm saying now is that let us see a situation whereby we'll come back and dialogue. They should come back and we'll dialogue. You see, President Muhammadu Buhari, we all voted him, and the way they are going about it now is as if the president should resign or whatever. You can see what is going on. They have hijacked the protest. Yes. So I read one of this man's write-up doing Okupe. Yes, and I saw some kind of merit in what he put down there. You see, in anywhere in the world, no matter how length the war or the protest, people will still come back. I will advise Nigerians or the younger ones to come back, list whatever is your demand before the government, and then the government will listen to you. Then we can still come back to the round table and discuss about it.
Well, right now let's go to our powerhouse, and if you want to be part of this discussion, you can reach us on WhatsApp on 0706400321, and if you want to do business with Solab Television, you can always reach us on 070640032390, 0706400329, and we are still talking about the NSAS protest and the Reformation of Nigeria, and still with me here is Barrister Oyedele and Alhaji Moshood. We will welcome back to our chat room on Solab Television, and the matter we are discussing about is the state of Nigeria today. I'm going to go to Barrister Nuruddin. A lot of people, you were talking, and I remember talking to somebody yesterday, and he said they need to decentralize the power. That is one of the things we're talking about, how to reform now. Said they need to decentralize the power. We need to go back to regional way of ruling Nigeria or governing Nigeria. What do you say about that, sir?
Yes, that is the right way to go. Like I said, the federal government, as we have presently, is hydra-headed. So we don't really have a federal government. What we have is unitary system of government, where the federal government controls everything. You're talking about the police. It's being controlled centrally. So the power must be devolved to the regions, like we have in the first republic. We had the western region, the eastern region, and the northern region. Now we are going further to have 6 both geopolitical zones. So the powers must be devolved into all the zones so that each zone can develop at its pace. Look, federal government controlling education, discussing agriculture, legislating on agriculture, legislating on tourism and all that is not fashionable. If we truly have presidential system of government, if we have truly copied the American presidential system of government, what we had is America is a kind of what I call pseudo presidential system, in which case each state has its own law, each state has its own police, each state they have control over their own resources, and they pay taxes to the federal government. Look at the state of California, look at the state of Texas. They pay taxes to the United States government. They explore their resources and they are developing. Today, the state of Texas, California particularly California, is the 6th largest economy in the world because the American system allows the state to develop, to manage their affairs. So that must be replicated in Nigeria. So let there be restructuring. The restructuring is the only answer. For example, I cannot see where the president, all the state government, the commissioners of finance, we go to Abuja every month to collect stipend from the federal government. It's not done. There is no development. No president let go and bring a genius, the best genius in the world to come and manage Nigeria. It will fail. How? Like I said, there are over 600 parastatals. No minister can approve more than 20 million naira.
Wow.
So the implication of that is that almost majority of the files goes to the tables of the president of the president. And you know the president we have, particularly the current president. Anybody, I mean, it's not his fault that the man is not strong, it's not healthy, it is nature. You can't, yes. So there's little this man can do. So, and at the same time, let's even assume the man is strong. What can one single man do to rule 200 million people and approve projects in Lagos, approve projects everywhere? So there must be, the National Assembly must tinker with the so-called exclusive, the recurrent, and the residual list. Once there is that is adjusted, that is amended, then they can develop. Then the president must be ready. He must. This is the time for him to accede to restructuring. Like we have the First Republic. You do not expect, if you go to the South, apart from the fact that the leaders of the South are not, they are enemies of their people. Even the federal government itself is not helping matters. Despite the 13% derivation, there's no development in the Niger Delta
at all.
So why would you expect such people to be happy with the system? And we have the same youth. Look, how much you're talking about the youth, NSAS. It goes beyond NSAS.
Yes.
For crying out loud. It goes beyond that. Like I said, it's a culmination of bottle-up anger based on certain issues. Parents, they struggle to send their children to school.
Yeah.
Some of us and some of the leaders today enjoyed free education.
Definitely.
I enjoyed a lot of free education, but I get free education. So today there's nothing like that. Parents struggle to send their children to school. After school, no job to do, and police be chasing them all over the place because of the fundamental problems in the police that has radiated into their lifestyle, the way they handle citizens. Yeah, we are bound to have this problem. But it is so good that we're having it now. It's like this government has been enjoying the goodwill over the years, since the last 5 years. And it's like everybody has been silenced, nobody could talk. We had the hate speech bill, hate speech act, etc., which was meant to silence the people. But that has failed now. That tells us that you can only oppress people for some time. You cannot oppress them all the time.
Wow, Nigeria, the way forward. Alhaji Moshood, you're a security consultant. I want to ask you, particularly about, because nobody's talking about the Navy or end Army, where everybody's talking about end police brutality. And before this program commenced, we're talking about the police. Can I say, what are the fundamental problems that the police as an entity is facing right now that has led to this serious cancerous state?
Yes, thank you, Rosalie. You see, police of today are different from those in 80s.
Okay.
You see, in 80s, you see, when you see police officer, you would love to join the work, because then there was nothing like, I may not say, we cannot say the corruption or no corruption, but then you see policemen, you with dignity. You see, then you go to all the police kits their men. They go to the store, they get whatever they want. There is a barrack where policemen sleep. They have their houses there. They have their quarters there. They have a police boss that take you to wherever he wants to go. Like if you are being posted from one place to another, usually they have MSS there, Police Service Commission and other things. You apply for your travel allowance or whatever, but all those things were not there any longer. You see a policeman posted from one place to another today, he has to look for money. And when we are looking at their salary, the salary is so mega. There's nothing to talk. It's nothing to talk about. You see, you have to buy your uniform yourself. Those days in 80s, you go to
please
store.
Let me come in. Do you mean the policeman out there has to buy his uniform?
You buy your uniform, you buy the shoe you were wearing. You see, that is where when you go to the station, you see, there are budgets for all these things.
Definitely.
When you go to the station, they will tell you the bail is free. But at the end of the day, you still have to pay money. They are collecting this money because there's no any other way around. Because
to survive.
To survive. Yes, that's what we're saying. So you see, for a policeman to be posted from Lagos to Delta or whatever, he has to look for a relative or whoever that's going to stay with. But there is a provision. You were supposed to be given a vehicle or given an allowance to travel, but all these things are not there any longer. So I don't blame them. What they are doing today, they have to survive. So that is what the situation we find ourselves today. The police of those days, they are quite different from police now. You see, that is why when you are traveling with your car, they embarrass you on the road. I learned that some policemen now, they are asking for they ask for money on the road. They ask you to bring. If you say you don't have money, I learned they were having a POS to collect money from you. So all these things are not happening in those days. So that is, we need to check ourselves.
Barrister Oyedele, are we going to attribute this to corruption? Because everywhere you go to now, you talk about corruption. Every sector, everywhere, educational sector, banking sector, the security forces. Everybody is because right now what is going on is NSAS, and everybody have something to say. Especially on the social network now, we see a lot of cases. I want to cite an example which I have been citing. We have a body that we call EFCC, right? And then we knew there was a case against the chieftain some few months back, and this case was a case of massive corruption, if I can use that word. But at the end of the day, you see everybody is walking free, without any form of investigation and persecution. So what are you going to say that one of the major roots that is eating deep into this our nation, Nigeria, is corruption?
The issue of corruption is multidimensional. It's multidimensional. In our society, corruption has become a way of life.
Wow.
It's not only in government, for crying out loud.
Yeah, school.
Even in the private sector, in banks, insurance, everywhere, it has become a norm. It's a major problem. It's a cankerworm that if something drastic is not done, it will consume the entire. We won't have a country to call Nigeria. When you go to government circle, it's corruption. I cannot imagine civil servants sending their children to Harvard University, Oxford University. The salary cannot afford it. You see people, civil servants, living above their salaries. What do you call that? It's corruption. And that is the problem. Any government that comes, I want to say it again, revolution or no revolution, they are going to meet the same system, the same bureaucracy led by the colonial masters, inherited by the military, transferred to the civilian dispensation. The same civil servants are there. The major problem Nigeria is having today is the civil service. 70% of the budget is being stolen by the civil servants. Quote me anywhere. When you get into, if you are coming from the private sector, go and work in the civil service. You will live there prostrated because you will see massive stealing. Politicians cannot steal without civil servants. It's practically impossible. Politician doesn't prepare memo. They don't prepare memo. Politician doesn't do any procurement. Civil servant does the procurement. They do the memo. They prepare everything.
So most of the time,
so anybody coming, let us learn from this, because the youth are shouting. They should know what they are coming to meet. Without anybody tinkering with the civil service, particularly the federal revenue, we are going nowhere. That's number one. Number two, there must be moral regeneration all of us must agree that we are going to end corruption. In the private sector, we are only talking about the federal government. What about the corruption at the state level? But when you look at the section 162 of the 1999 Constitution, the money that goes to the JAC, Joint Allocation Committee account for local governments, the state government, they are supposed to have 10% of the internal revenue to the Joint Account Allocation Committee, to the local government account. I mean, state revenue generated by the state. Yes. They are supposed to have 10% of that total revenue generated. They are going to add it to that money before they share the money to all the local government. What is happening? Instead of the state giving to the local government, the state is collecting. They are stealing the money. Governors don't allow local government to function. That is why there is so much poverty at the grassroots. Money is not percolating. Yeah. The little money the state government, the local government have been given statutory allocation from the federal government. They are being stolen by the state. So there isn't much money for the local government to operate with. So how do you feel governance? That is why we are saying there must be autonomy for local governments.
Yes.
There must be, so that they will be able to control their resources. The KBC and the leaders at the grassroots will be able to ask our council chairman, what are you doing with our money? But all of us knows that they are not being given any money now. They are stealing all the money. So why do you expect development?
Wow.
So the corruption is multidimensional.
Okay.
And the government is not helping. The government established EFCC in 2004. That government operated with EFCC. They even started the issue of corruption, fighting corruption within their own political party. Another government came. They faced the opposition. They are not talking about the corruption within their own party. How can you have development? It will not work.
It will not work.
So the corruption, the issue of corruption, it starts from home. When a father will bribe the child, okay, tell anybody who comes to see me, tell him I am not around. Oh, I want to go out. Okay. I don't trouble your mommy. I'll buy something for you. It's corruption.
Definitely.
So we are planting corruption right from the grassroots, right from the home. And unless all of us decide, I have advocated some time ago. I said this issue of corruption, when you talk about all the parties, all of them are corrupt. APC, PDP, it's like when you are talking of 6 and have a dozen. It's the same thing. Yeah. Yes, it's the same thing. So let the federal government declare amnesty on corruption, on corrupt leaders, and let us now go. Death penalty for corruption.
Wow.
As we have in China.
In China, yes.
Yes, as we have in China. You know that once you collect a bribe, you can, once you drink more than a cup of tea in United States of America, a cup of tea, a cup of coffee, more than that, a cup of coffee.
In your office?
Yes, in your office. Or from anybody. That is corruption. Once you drink more than a cup of coffee, go ask anybody. So, but here, it's a no. You cannot get anything done. You're talking about police. It's only about the police. Are you talking, what about the customs? What about the NEPA, which has been given to the private sectors? So, it's corruption everywhere.
Yes, you made mention of something I wanted to ask. I remember some months back, I think one of the prime ministers in China was executed.
Yeah.
Is there any way, because we're talking about reforming Nigeria for the next generation, is there any way that they can put up a constitution, and not only putting up a constitution to make sure that this constitution is implemented, where you can, because I can tell you that everybody out there that are leading right now, or that are in a place of position, they're all corrupt. Because if they are not corrupt, I don't think the youths will degenerate to where they are now, or the kind of the beast they formed out of the youths. Because we've gone out there, we've seen the youths, we've seen that they are ready to die. they tell them that they are just ready to die. I think one of the youths I met today said, "Look, just legalize guns so that we can all be battle ready." So, Alajimo, what are you going to say? Because right now we're news getting to our TV station is there's going to be a 24. First of all, they said 6-hour curfew. Now there's going to be a 24-hour curfew, and then you can hear that in Edo State prison is broken. What can you just say about all these things? How can we just find a solution, a lasting solution? Let's not just talk. But what is your opinion? We need a solution to make sure to push Nigeria forward.
I've said it earlier at the beginning of this program. You see, we cannot continue with this protest. You see, now the protests have been hijacked, and innocent people are dying. So, burning people's property here and there. You see, we can't continue like this. You see, they have to bring up their demands before I think federal government have been watching, the states have been, the governors have been coming in to see what they can do to pacify them. You see, in a situation like this, I said it earlier, we cannot continue with this protest. We should bring up our demand. All these boys should come out with their list. I don't think they have a leader. As it is now, I don't think they have a leader. A leader should come up, maybe inviting all the different the representatives from different states to go to National Assembly. And another thing is, even the president can make use of this, the youth protest, to fight for whatever they wanted. As the way it is, if they present all their demands to the president as well present it to the house that, look, these are the things these boys are looking for, this is the way, and I want it approved. You see, the issue of cutting their salary, they are taking too much of the money, and this is why people are getting angry. It's not, as my other colleagues say here, you can see anger in the face of so many Nigerians. It's very, very difficult for you to send your children to school. Even to have 2 square meals at home is very, very difficult. So we are into it already. And you see, the best way is to come back to the round table and discuss about it.
Okay, you've heard it all. We need to go back to the round table. We need to go back to the negotiating table, the government and the people, so we can have a solution and not claim people's lives, destroy people's property, and we pray that there is no breakdown in law and order in our nation, Nigeria.